For the last 100 years, the deal was simple. You work, the economy grows, you get a house with a white picket fence, and eventually you die in a warm bed surrounded by grandkids who secretly hate you. In 2026, that deal didn't just break, it was taken out back and shot. We are currently living through the great decoupling. It is a moment where corporate profits have decided they no longer need people to exist. You might have noticed something weird. Nvidia is worth $5 trillion. Microsoft is printing money. OpenAI is burning cash faster than the Joker in The Dark Knight. And yet, your rent is up 30%. Your grocery bill looks like a mortgage payment, and LinkedIn is just a graveyard of people begging for opportunities. Why? Because the money isn't gone. It just moved. It moved from labor to compute. This video is not a tech review. I do not care about the new chatbot. This is a forensic audit of a crime scene. The victim is the middle class. The weapon is a $600 billion bet on silicon chips. If you click off this video, you are choosing to stay in the dark about the biggest wealth transfer in human history. I am going to show you the math behind the AI bubble. I am going to show you why companies are firing humans, even when they are making record profits. And by the end of these 10 minutes, I am going to tell you the only way to position yourself so you do not end up as a battery for the digital gods. Let us look at the numbers, because unlike your ex, numbers don't lie. So, if Nvidia is the drug dealer, who is the addict? Meet OpenAI. By late 2025, OpenAI did something impossible. They hit a revenue run rate of $20 billion. To give you context, it took Google 10 years to reach that number. OpenAI did it in about 3 years. People are happily paying $20 a month to have a robot write their emails, debug their code, and act as a therapist because their actual therapist is too expensive. This looks like a massive success story. Right, this looks like the future. Wrong. Here's the dirty secret of the AI economy. Intelligence is expensive, unlike software, where selling a copy of Windows costs Microsoft basically $0. Every single time you ask ChatGPT a question, a server in a desert somewhere has to do a burpee. Reports indicate that despite making billions, OpenAI is projected to lose around $5 to $8 billion in cash. In the startup world, we call this burn rate. In the real world, we call this being a trust fund baby. OpenAI is not a sustainable business yet. It is a lifestyle, supported by a very rich stepdad named Microsoft. Microsoft pumps in cash and cloud credits to keep the lights on. Why? Because they are terrified that if they stop paying, Google will win. It is a hostage situation, disguised as a partnership. The problem is, unit economics, they charge you a flat fee, but their costs are variable. If you use ChatGPT to write a novel, you are costing them money. If you use it to generate 500 images of Shrek as a Balenciaga model, you are burning their margins. To fix this, they need to make the models smarter and cheaper. But to make them smarter, they need more chips and more data. And that brings us to the wall they are about to hit. We have the chips, we have the models, but a model is like a child. To make it smart, you have to send it to school. You have to feed it books, articles, and Reddit threads. For the last 10 years, that data was free. But now, the free lunch is over. The internet is closing its doors. The companies that own the data, the newspapers, the artists, the forums, they just realized that they are sitting on a gold mine and they aren't sharing anymore. They are suing. If OpenAI cannot get the data, the $600 billion gamble goes to zero. Let us talk about the biggest heist in history and why it just got caught. For the last decade, Silicon Valley pulled off the greatest heist in human history. They called it training. They scraped every book, every article, and every angry Reddit comment to teach their models how to talk like a human. And they paid exactly $0 for it. But in 2024 and 2025, the bill came due. The New York Times sued OpenAI. Their argument was simple. You cannot just read our work, memorize it, and then sell a product that regurgitates our work for $20 a month. If the New York Times wins, OpenAI might have to delete their models and start over. That is an existential threat. This lawsuit scared the living daylights out of the industry. Suddenly, fair use was not a shield, it was a target. So, the tech giants did what they always do when they get caught breaking the law. They opened their checkbooks. Google cut a deal with Reddit worth $60 million a year. OpenAI signed a deal with News Corp worth $250 million. Suddenly, your posts on Wall Street bets are premium assets. They are the textbooks for the next generation of AI. But here is the dark side of these deals. This creates a data moat. If you want to build a competitor to GPT-5 today, you cannot just scrape the web anymore. You have to pay Reddit $60 million. You have to pay the Times $100 million. This ensures that the rich companies stay rich and the two guys in a garage stay in the garage. So, let us recap the scorecard. 1. They bought the chips. 2. They are burning cash on electricity. 3. They are buying the data. The costs are astronomical. To justify this insane spending, I cannot just be a helper. It cannot just be a co-pilot. For the math to work, it has to replace you. This brings us to the promise they sold Wall Street, the great replacement. Klarna, the buy now pay later company, announced they replaced 700 humans with one AI bot. The stock market cheered. The investors popped champagne. But then, something weird happened. The customers started screaming. Let us talk about the ultimate fantasy of every corporate executive. The fantasy is simple: fire the humans, hire the robots, keep the profit. In early 2025, a company called Klarna became the poster child for this movement. The headlines were terrifying. Klarna announced that their AI assistant handled 2.3 million conversations in 1 month. They claimed it did the work of 700 full-time human agents. They claimed it drove $40 million in profit improvement. Wall Street loved it, but if you looked closer at the data, you saw the crack in the armor. The AI was incredible at handling simple tasks, things like, "Where is my package?" or "I want a refund." But when a customer had a complex emotional problem, the AI failed. Customers reported getting stuck in loops. They felt ignored. Klarna eventually had to realize something painful. You can replace a task with AI, but you cannot easily replace a role. This brings us to the only economic model that actually works right now. It is called the Centaur Model. In Greek mythology, a centaur is half human, half horse. In the economy of 2026, a centaur is a human who uses AI to do the work of 10 people. Take a lawyer at a top firm. In the old days, they billed you for 10 hours of reading contracts. Today, they use AI to read the contracts in 10 minutes. But here's the trick. They don't bill you for 10 minutes, they bill you for the value of the deal. They keep the margin. The big companies are struggling to figure this out. They are too slow, they have too many meetings. But there is one specific type of person who is using this Centaur model and to get filthy rich. They don't have employees, they don't have a boss, and they are making millions in profit while sitting in their pajamas. Let us meet the solo capitalist. If you run a traditional company, your life is a nightmare. You have to deal with payroll, you have to deal with lawsuits, you have to deal with Steve from accounting, who keeps microwaving fish in the break room. But in the AI economy, there is a glitch in the matrix. Meet the solo capitalist, a guy like Peter Levels. He runs a portfolio of AI companies, including Photo AI. His revenue, $3 million a year. His employee count, 0. He doesn't have a marketing team. He has a Twitter account. He doesn't have an engineering team. He has a bunch of API keys. This is the arbitrage of the century. He buys intelligence from OpenAI for pennies. He packages it into a nice website and he sells it to you for $29. The margin is 90%. This is the only business model where your employees don't need health insurance. They don't complain about burnout, and they don't steal your yogurt from the fridge. So, here is the unexpected truth. The biggest winner of the AI revolution isn't Google. Google is terrified. The biggest winner is the person who realizes that job security is a scam. The corporate ladder is broken, but the elevator is wide open. The conclusion, the New Deal. So, let us go back to the $600 billion question. Is it a bubble? Maybe. Will Nvidia stock crash? Probably, but the technology is not going back in the box. You have two choices in the next 5 years. Option A, you compete with the robot on labor. You try to write emails faster. You try to code faster. If you do this, you will lose. The robot works for electricity. You work for food. You cannot win that math equation. Option B, you become the architect. You stop selling your time. You start selling outcomes. You use the tools to build a system that works while you sleep. Because in 2026, nobody cares how hard you work. They only care about what you build. The economy isn't dead. It just evolved. Don't be the guy waiting for a paycheck. Be the guy who owns the robot. That prints the paycheck. Thanks for watching. And seriously, Chiefs, cancel your unused subscriptions. You are broke.